Hello Internet, welcome back to the Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict, and today's topic is going to be Elegg, boom and shock. My god, she looks good. Let's talk a little bit about the tier list, where she is, how to build her, a couple of her pros, her cons, and in my opinion if it's worth pulling or not. You know the answer, okay? Look at that. Are you not gonna pull for that? Come on, boys. Let's get real for a second, alright? Go get one copy. My god, she looks nice. Okay, enough Goonie, okay? Let's talk about the tier list and where she is. T1 character. Before we go into why she's a T1 character, leave a like, subscribe, have a look at the channel. So, wherever Ice Queen is, Ice Rose Maiden is, that's where Elegg needs to be. She is a literal copy of Ice Rose. Nothing changes. The difference is that Maiden captures, or no, sorry, not captures. Maiden will gain mana as an RPG character, and Elegg will capture ghosts. That's it. You can also burst twice with Elegg instead of just once with Maiden, but that's like the only the difference that they have. And it's not even worth bursting twice with her. But let's go a little bit over her skills, her build, the pros, the cons, some testing on Harvester we were doing while not bursting, bursting one, bursting twice with her and different characters. And again, in my opinion, if it's worth putting or not. TLDR, get one copy for raids if you care. MLB looks really good, but honestly, considering the current state of Nike, I cannot recommend MLBing anything. I just can't recommend MLBing anything. There is no rocks to build the characters, there is barely any currency because there is constantly limited or 1% or whatever the fuck they're doing. If you're a spender or you are planning ahead, you can save for all characters. But it's getting quite rough, let's say. That's it, enough complaining and jumping. Let's start with the skills and what's going on with Elegg. Her skills are pretty simple, I'm not gonna be explaining them one by one, but just know that a 777 is more than enough for her. You don't really need to be going any higher. Now, if you wanted to go higher, you could be going for a 1077. Just for the elemental damage here, to get the max amount, which is like what, 30 something percent at level 10. At level 7 is already at 30%. It's not a huge increase at max level, so I would not go that high just for the extra resources, in my opinion. So a 777 works fantastic. If you are not gonna be bursting with her, 774. Right? Even a 771 if you wanna be like lazy, but I like taking them at least to level 4. As for her skills, which again depends how you wanna play her, and I'll showcase damage numbers later, bursting and not bursting. When it comes to her build, she's a pretty simple character. This is a machine gun, and just like every machine gun in the game, you wanna go Bastion if you get enough max ammo capacity lines. If you do not get max ammo line because you are getting really unlucky, like look at this piece, charge damage first line, that should be illegal. If you only get one line of ammo, you wanna go Resilience. If you get at least 2, then you can switch to Bastion. There is no other cube that will really benefit her. This is a machine gun, it's already pretty accurate, so no need to worry about any other stat. And when it comes to stats, speaking on that, she is a sub DPS, so you still wanna go elemental, attack, and of course, max ammo capacity, that's the priority. You can get crit lines as fillers, and then you can completely ignore hit rate. This is machine gun, they are already really accurate. In fact, the most accurate weapon in the game after the ramp up period. So that's for the gear, for the skills, and for the cube. Let's talk a little bit about the doll and the dupes. So dupes will impact her damage a lot, but at the end of the day is min-maxing for wells. Both her skill 2 and her burst are final attack as damage, so dupes will be impacting that. And also her skill 1 is as well attack based on caster's attack. So of course Shift Up is trying to incentivize pulling for dupes, but again it's not worth it. If you are someone who cares for raids, you will MLB. For the rest of the players, a copy is enough. When it comes to the doll, personally, just put a purple doll, do not level it up. Do not go blue into purple, just put a purple doll directly, because you get higher stats, higher raw stats, and you can just leave it at phase 0 and it's enough for her. It depends how much resources you have and how many maintenance kits you have. I will say she's not high priority. Like if you got Doro, that's a better priority or a better character to actually level up the doll for, right? Rather than a sub DPS support. So this is a character that, just like Maiden, you will be using either off burst or just bursting at the end of the battle. You can burst twice because you will be able to obtain 13 ghosts at around 130-140 seconds, and then you will be able to, on the last 30 seconds, have another burst ready. If you do not burst on a normal team composition, this is Harvester runs on a Crown Helm Siren composition, using Quincy as the main DPS. She is doing 1.2 and 1.3. This is 2 different accounts doing exactly the same team compositions and runs, just to show 2 different levels of investments. And as you can see, Quincy here was doing 1.5, Helm 1.1, and Elegg only doing 1 billion. Bursting once goes from 1.2 to 1.3, and she goes on the second account from 1 bill to 1.2. So it's a good increase, and I feel it's worth actually going for the investment on the burst and for the skill 1 and just bursting once with her. Bursting twice, however, it's a little bit different. We tested on like 4 to 5 different accounts. The consensus is that the increase in damage is not that big. So as you can see, bursting twice with Elegg from 1.391 goes to 1.264 on this account. And on the second account, she goes from 1.2 all the way to 1.1. So she's losing 100. But then again, this is also me manually missing probably 90% of the core shots because I'm a boomer. So you can probably get better results. But I will say bursting once is where the sweet spot is. You don't need to be worrying too much about, oh, I need to be checking her stacks or when she gets 13 to burst and then be, pending at the end of the battle. No, if you're bringing 2 DPSs, burst with your 2 DPSs, and the last one, just go and nuke with Elegg. Enough jabbing about numbers though, let's go actually into the pros and cons. Starting with Great Elemental Buffer of Burst Unit for water teams. This doesn't need to burst or heavily invest in her. In my opinion, this is a pro because it means you are saving resources when building a character like this, rather than Doro, and you need to go 10-10-10 on everything, right? So she's pretty cheap. Skill 1 is not a stack, and I know some people don't like this as a pro. TLDR, just like Maiden, you cannot bring someone who duplicates a stack count because the ghosts do not count as a stack. It's the effect of capturing one ghost, so you cannot duplicate this. It shifts up ways of making stack characters that do not work with duplicate stack units. Why did they make duplicate stack characters if you cannot really use them with the good ones? Well, you should be asking Shift that question, not me. But this means you can put it on any team composition as long as it's water and she works out of the way, plug and play. And then lastly, once again, pretty cheap to build as a support, 774. And if you want to be bursting with her, it's just a level 7 on the burst, so 777. Now, a couple cons that she has. For some reason, most of the elemental buffers are limited. I don't know why. Anis, Maiden, you got your Elegg, even if you want to be taking the damage taken as a debuffer, Ludmilla as well, like all of these characters are limited. Shift up, make some fucking buffers that are not limited. Thank you. That said, that to me is a con because they are kinda greedy on that regard. And then lastly, in contrast to ex-Maiden, Elegg can burst twice per battle, but her damage, as you can see on the numbers that we showed earlier, is not that different. In most cases it goes down, and we tested on even more accounts later and the results were the same, at least for me again. But I'm a boomer and I'm missing a lot of core shots, so you might be able to get a similar result bursting twice or just once. Because depending who your other burst character is, let's say is Helm, like a fully invested Helm, you are losing a big chunk of damage if you're bursting with Elegg. So it's all about who you are using as your other burst character there. But those are the reasons as to why for now she stays at the T1. I feel some of these elemental buffers are good at the T1 because they are bringing a lot to those teams and they are actually currently being used on the raids, right? A lot of characters on T2, for example, like Guillotine, she can get good damage, but she's barely used even on raids. Same for Phantom, same for Privacy, etc. I feel that is a good spot for her. Lastly, before we go, and I forget, I updated the website, and now when we are writing guides and you are seeing characters, you will be able to see small pop-ups on the characters and see a little bit of information on them, mostly the tier and the tags. There's nothing big in here. You still need to go to the characters or the pop-ups if you want to be checking how to build them. But I think it's a nice addition so people can see at a glance where a character is on the tier list, right? But that said, enough yapping about the new waifu. That's gonna be for this video. Do let me know if you guys agree with the ratings or not. And as usual, we are live every single day. Love you all bastards. Good luck with your pool dinner dates. I'll see you in the next one.